So in the promotion stage itself, we have to just draw a project plan. A promoter is one who is controlling the company. If the business idea is not bringing us enough profits, then it is best to drop such ideas. Now, what are the documents most important ones? The Memorandum of Association and the Articles of Association. Hello everyone, I am Purnima, faculty in the Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence. I welcome you all to this session on Chapter 7, that is Formation of a Company. Now we all know that most of the people, we have a lot of entrepreneurs around us, but most of them don't want to invest money in the business because of the fear of losing their money. Because as you all know, business is always full of risks. So, in order to just see that we have a good business idea, there are certain people called as promoters who come together to promote a company. Now, let us look into what is the various procedures involved in the formation of a company. So, the people who come together, who think about a business idea and come together to start a business, they are called as promoters, and these promoters, they will be working for the formation of a company. Now, in this chapter, we will be just looking into how a company will come into existence. In this introductory session on the formation of a company, let us have a look into what are the stages in the formation of a company. The steps which are required from the time a business idea originates to the time a company is legally ready to commence business are referred to as stages in the formation of a company. So, from the time the business idea originates till the time the company is formed, there are various steps, and we will be looking into the various steps here. Those who are taking these steps and the associated risks are promoting a company and are called as promoters. And all those persons who put in the efforts in continuing the stages of the formation of a company, they are called as the promoters. Then next, let us have a look into the introduction again. So, to fully understand the process, one can divide the formalities into three distinct stages, which are the promotion, incorporation, and subscription of capital. So, we all know that a company form of organization is one of the most complex forms of organization, and to just set up a company, it involves three important steps. Now, what are the three important steps involved? Then the first stage is the promotion stage. Now, what do we mean by this promotion stage? So, in this stage, a person comes up with a business idea, and it may be related to an existing product or a service, or it may be a product or a service which is presented through a different channel. So, depending on the type of idea, this person or a group of persons, they come up with the conception of an idea. So, once they just get the idea, then they look into the various stages of how to just get it to converted into a business proposition. So, once you get the idea to start a business, then you have to just see what are the various things involved. So, what is the type of product you are doing, and what are the raw materials required, what is the resources required, what is the human resource required, what are the other types of resources required, what is the technology required. So, all these things will come. So, all these things will have to be thought about in this promotion stage itself. So, in the promotion stage itself, we have to just draw a project plan. So, what is the plan of our business? So, how long will it take for us to set up the business? And what is the product we are manufacturing? What will be the brand name? So, all these things come under this promotion stage. Now, the next stage is the incorporation stage. Now, in the stage of incorporation, we will be just seeing how the company will be registered. So, in order to just start a public limited company, or in order to start a private company, we need to get it registered. Now, this process of getting it registered is called as incorporation. Now, Now, if we have to get a company registered, there are certain procedures to be followed, and these procedures, there will be certain documents which will be asked by the registrar of companies, and these documents will have to be submitted by the promoters, and then we will complete the incorporation stage. And then we have the last stage, that is the subscription of capital. Now, this is the last stage in the formation of a company, where the company will be authorized to collect the capital from the general public. So, if it is a new company, the initial public offer, what we call as the IPO, so that will be the offer which will be given to the public, and the public will have to subscribe to that particular capital of that company. So, these are the three important stages in the formation of a company. Then, next, let us look into the promotion of a company. So, in promotion of a company, promotion is the first stage in the formation of a company. So, this is a repetition of what we saw in the previous slide. So, promotion is the first stage in the formation of a company. It involves conceiving a business idea and taking an initiative to form a company so that practical shape can be given to exploiting the available business opportunities. So, here in the promotion stage, it is the first stage in the formation of a company, and here in this stage itself, we think of a business idea. For example, let us take the example of Swiggy. Swiggy is becoming so very popular nowadays, Swiggy or Zomato. See, online food ordering business. So, nobody thought of this idea all these days. Nowadays, it is catching so much of popularity that almost all are entering this food business. So, you can see that how a business idea is becoming very, very popular. Now, it is an existing product itself, but it is coming through a different channel. So, instead of we going to the restaurant, the food is coming to where we are sitting. So, this is the reverse idea of this business proposition. So, you can see how popular it is nowadays. Now, so it involves conceiving a business idea and taking an initiative to form a company. So, you have to form a company so that practical shape can be given. So, by forming the company, you are putting the plan into materialization and exploiting the available business opportunity. So, whatever is the available business opportunity, you exploit it and make money. So, this entire process is the promotion of a company. Then, the promoters assemble resources, prepare necessary documents, give a name, and perform various other activities to get a company registered and obtain the necessary certificate enabling the company to commence business. Thus, the promoters perform various functions to bring a company into existence. So, what is the work of the promoter? Now, they have conceived the business idea. Yes, fine. Then, next step is the promoters assemble the resources. Now, what are the resources the business needs? So, it needs financial resources, it needs human resources, it needs technological resources, and it needs everything. So, all the land also it needs. So, everything, all these resources have to be assembled. And who does this job? The promoter will do the job. Then, prepare necessary documents. So, what are the documents necessary? So, whether it is for incorporation, what are the various documents which are necessary that we have to collect from the registrar of companies? Then, give a name. So, once we start a company, it has to be called by a name. Then, we have to name the company and perform various other activities to get a company registered. So, in order to get a company registered, we have to perform so many activities, and all these activities will be done by the promoters and obtain the necessary certificate enabling the company to commence business. Now, once we do all these formalities, then again we have to get a certificate from the registrar of companies stating that it is giving you permission to start the business. So, all these things are done by the promoter. So, thus the promoter performs various functions to bring a company into existence. So we all know that a company is an artificial person. So it can do all the functions just like a normal human being. So in the same way, how the promoters will be bringing this company into existence by doing all these jobs. Then next, let us see what is the meaning of a promoter as per section 69 of the Companies Act. So in this, as per section 69, a promoter means a person who has been named as such in a prospectus or is identified by the company in the annual return referred to in section 92. So who has been named as such in the prospectus. Now what do we mean by prospectus? Prospectus is a book issued by the company. So before it goes for public offer, it has to issue this prospectus to the public. So in this prospectus, they will mention the name of the promoter, the underwriters to the issue, the board of directors, who is the chairman, who is the CEO. So all the details regarding the company will be mentioned in the prospectus, and this promoter's name also should be included in the prospectus or is identified by the company in the annual return referred to in section 92. So whenever the company files the annual returns to the registrar or to the income tax authorities, then the promoter's name will be mentioned and such a name will be considered as the promoter of the company. Then the next condition they have told is who has control over the affairs of the company directly or indirectly, whether as a shareholder, director or otherwise. So a promoter is one who is controlling the company. So how can he control the company? So he can control the company directly or indirectly. So in the capacity of a shareholder or a director or otherwise. Then next, the third condition or the third definition of a promoter is in accordance with whose advice, directions or instructions the board of directors of the company is accustomed to act. So the board of directors, they will be acting on the instructions of the promoter. So the promoter, or we call him as the founder of the company, and this founder of the company, he has the authority to give instructions to the board of directors, and he will be following the instructions of this promoter. Then next, let us look into the functions of a promoter. So the functions of a promoter is, first one is identification of a business opportunity. Now you can see that there are so many products around us, there are so many services around us, but then even after having so many products, there are certain things for which we wish to have. So for example, you take the example of the ID batter or the idli dosa batter, which is available in the market ready now. So this is one very good business opportunity or a very good business idea. See, nowadays most of the ladies, they just go out and work and they don't have the time to prepare the idli dosa batter. So this idea which came up, it is becoming very, very popular nowadays because we need not soak the rice and dal and then wait for it to ferment overnight and then make use it as dosa and idli. So this is one very good business opportunity. So in this way, we have to identify the business opportunity. Now who will do this? It will be the promoter. So he has to identify the business opportunities. Again, you take the example of Swiggy. Now Swiggy also, so here instead of we going to a restaurant, the restaurant comes to our house. So he is bringing the food to our doorstep. So this is very, very good example of a business service. So in this way, we can see that the business ideas are there. Only thing is, we have to just think about the feasibility of these ideas, and these business ideas will be thought about by the promoter. Then next one is the feasibility studies. Now what do we mean by feasibility studies? In this feasibility studies, we have three feasibilities here. One is technical feasibility, second one is financial feasibility, third one is economic feasibility. Now, in this feasibility, we will be looking into the various aspects of the business idea. Suppose you want to manufacture a new product, then next thing is we have to think about the technology used. So what is the kind of technology you are looking for? So whether it is fully mechanical or whether it is fully labor intensive. Then if it is a mechanical technology which you are using, then you should know whether that type of machinery is available in the country. Then if it is not available here, then you have to look up to various foreign countries where it is available, and then if it is available, then you have to contact that person, then you have to make enquiries about it, etc. And it is a very long drawn process, and also you have to look up to the import restrictions which are imposed by the government of India. So all these things, they take up a lot of time, and then all these things will have to be thought about by the promoter himself. So what is the technical know-how to just produce the product or the service? So that has to be looked into. Then the second one is financial feasibility. Now what do we mean by financial feasibility? So as you all know, any business needs money. So the business requirements, whatever is the money requirement of the business, if it is very, very huge, then the promoter is best to just drop it off. Then if he feels that the business requirement does not need lot of money, then he can go ahead with the proposal. And then if there are so many government projects which are supporting him, then he can always avail of those facilities and then bring his idea into materialization. Then the third one is economic feasibility. Now what do we mean by economic feasibility? So we know that the business idea is technically feasible, financially feasible, but then the third important thing is profit. So if the business idea is not bringing us enough profits, then it is best to drop such ideas. So in order to just see if this business idea is giving us good profit to survive in the market, we can take the help of some professionals or those who are experts in that field. We can take their help and we can just see if the marketing of this product will bring us more profit. So you take the help of the engineers, you take the help of technical consultants, you take the help of marketing managers, and then you try to assess what is the feasibility of the particular business idea. So all these things should be done by the promoter himself. Then the next important thing is the name approval. So in order to start a company, we should now have a name for the company, and this name should be Registrar of Companies. Now which Registrar of Companies? Where the company's registered office is situated, in the same place wherever is the Registrar of Companies, you have to send the company's name for approval. Now, when you are sending the company's name for approval, if the registrar does not have any objection, he may just approve the name of the company. But then, if he feels that the name of the company is not very good, or it is misleading, or it is something which is not acceptable to the society, then he may raise an objection. So in that case, so we can just suggest 3 names for approval, and the registrar of companies, he may approve any one of the names for approval. And in this way, we have to get the name approved by the registrar of companies. Then the next function of the promoter is fixing up signatories to the memorandum of association. So we all know that in the formation of a company, the memorandum of association is one of the most important documents. Now this memorandum of association, it contains almost every aspect of the company. So in this memorandum of association, we need to get the signature of the board of directors. So who are the first board of directors, and we should also have this undertaking that the board of directors are taking up the qualification shares required for the directorship. So they have to just sign and only then the memorandum of association will be completed. Then next one is appointment of professionals. Now what do we mean by appointment of professionals? So whenever a new company is formed, we need to have so many professionals in that field. So it may be the marketing specialist, the technical consultant. So we have so many things to be assembled, and we need the professionals in those fields, and all these professionals will have to be appointed by the new company. Then last one, this is the preparation of necessary documents. So there are so many documents which are to be submitted to the registrar of companies. Now what are the documents? Most important ones, the memorandum of association and the articles of association. So these two are the most important documents. In addition to that, we need to have the prospectus of the company, and then we'll have to have various other documents which are suggested by the registrar of companies. So now let us look into what do we mean by memorandum of association. So what does this document involve, and why it is the most important document in the formation of a company? Now, the memorandum of association contains different clauses which are given as follows. So we call it as the MOA, or the Memorandum of Association. So once we just get a company incorporated with the registrar of companies, the most important document to be asked by the registrar of companies is the Memorandum of Association. Now let us have a look into what does this document contain. So the first one is the name clause. Now what do we mean by this? The name clause refers to the name of the company. So once we have, before we just start the business, so we have to get the name approved by the registrar of companies. So whatever is the name approved by the registrar of companies, that should be mentioned in this name clause. So in this name clause, it will contain the name of the new company which we are proposing to start. Then next one is the registered office clause. So as I had just told you earlier, so in order to get the company registered, we have to just get it registered in the place where the registered office of the company is situated. So if it is situated in Mysuru, then you have to get the company registered in the registrar of companies Mysuru. So in this way, we see that the registered office of clause contains the address of the company. So in case the address is not yet decided, then within 30 days of incorporation of the company, we can get the registered office clause. We can just get it mentioned later also. Then next one is the objects clause. Now let us see what this object clause contains. So under this objects clause, it just tells us the purpose for which the company is been formed. So the company activities should be limited to the purpose for which it is formed, and all the activities of the company should be limited along with this purpose. So it cannot just transcend its activities beyond the purpose of the company mentioned in the object clause. Then the next important clause is the liability clause. In the liabilities clause, it mentions the liability of the shareholders of the company. So in this liability clause, it mentions that the liability of the shareholders will be limited to their holding of the shares. Suppose a person holds shares worth rupees 5 lakhs in company A. Then if the company is going bankrupt, or if the company is going into liquidation, then such a shareholder is entitled to lose only up to his shareholding. That is, he may lose his 5 lakhs and his personal assets cannot be attached by the creditors of the company. So this liability clause is one of the most attractive clauses of a company. Why? Because the liability is limited only up to the capital of the company. So whatever capital we have invested, only up to that limit the creditors can claim the money from that particular shareholder, and that shareholder's personal assets cannot be touched by any of the creditors. So this liability clause is one of the most attractive clauses for starting a company. Then the last one is the capital clause. Now, what do we mean by capital clause? So, in this capital clause, it will mention the capital of the company. So, what is the authorized capital? So, what is the permission given by the registrar of companies? So, the promoters can request for a capital of 100 crores. So, if they request for a capital of 100 crores, the registrar, they may sanction some 50 crores as the capital, and within this authorized capital itself, the company will have to just carry out its functions. Now, this capital clause is very, very important. So, based on this capital clause only, we will receive the share applications from the public, and as such, this capital clause is very important because the authorized capital, then the subscribed capital, paid up capital, unpaid capital. So, all this will be mentioned in the capital clause. Now, in this capital clause itself, you will have to just think about the next 100 years of the company. So, what will be the capital required for the next 50 years? So, you have to think in advance, and then you have to decide about the capital clause. So, looking after all this, then we have to prepare the memorandum of association. Now, let us have a look at the last clause mentioned in the memorandum of association, that is the capital clause. So, in this capital clause, we will know that what is the authorized capital of the company. So, what is the amount of capital the company can collect from the public? So, that will be mentioned in this capital clause. So, in addition to the memorandum of association, we have one more important document, that is the articles of association. Now, what do we mean by articles of association? So, this will contain all the internal arrangements made by the company to run the company. This articles of association, it contains the internal management of the company. Now, there are different kinds of articles of association for different companies. So, if it is a company limited by shares, then they will have to see the form F. Then we have different forms for different types of companies. If it is a company limited by guarantee, so they have a different form. Then if it is a company limited by unlimited company, then they have to have a different form of articles of association. So, all these will be mentioned in the documents, and as per the rules and regulations laid down by the registrar of companies, these articles of associations have to be prepared. Now, in this articles of association, it will mention the internal management of the company, and whatever is mentioned in the articles of association, it should not be contradictory to the memorandum of association. So, whatever is mentioned in the memorandum of association, in support of that, we should have this articles of association. So, it is very, very important for the promoter to note that the articles of association is carefully prepared and submitted. Then, the next important document to be submitted is the consent of the proposed directors. Now, so whoever you are appointing as the director to the company, you have to take a written consent letter from these directors. And in addition to the consent letter, we should also see that they agree to buy the qualification shares of the company. So, in order to function as a director, he has to buy certain number of shares from that particular company, and he has to buy such shares and qualify for his directorship. Then the next one is agreement. Now, this agreement refers to the agreement between the company and the appointed managing director. So, any person who has been appointed as a managing director of the company, so he has to just sign an agreement with this company stating that he has agreed to become the managing director and he will be working on behalf of that particular company. Then the next important document to be submitted is the statutory declaration. Now, what is this statutory declaration? So, in this statutory declaration, we can see that it has undertaken all the formalities required for incorporation. So, whatever the procedures which are laid down by the registrar of companies, all the procedures have been followed and they have undertaken all the formalities formalities whatever is mentioned by the registrar of companies. So they have to give a statutory declaration to that effect, and that statutory declaration will be a important document for submission. Then the last one is receipt of payment of fee. Now, so they have to just pay to the registrar of companies a certain prescribed fee for registration, and this registration, whatever the fees they have paid, that receipt should be enclosed along with all other documents. So when you have all these documents with us, then we can get our company easily incorporated. Then the next, let us look into the position of the promoters. So we all know that the promoter is the founder of the company, and as such, what will be his position once the company comes into existence? So the position of promoters, the promoters undertake various activities to get a company registered and get it to the position of commencement of business. So we know that what are the functions of the promoter, right from conceiving the idea to get it registered. So whatever the activities involved, so that will be undertaken by the promoter. Then the promoters of a company enjoy a fiduciary position with the company which they must not misuse. So they hold an important position in the company which they should not misuse. Then next, they can make a profit only if it is disclosed, but must not make any secret profits. Now, we all know that a business is started to make profits, yes, but then they should not make any secret profits. Now, what do we mean by secret profits? He should not engage in any activity for his individual benefit. So, it should be for the benefit of the company as a whole. So, in the event of a non-disclosure, the company can rescind the contract and recover the purchase price paid to the promoters. So we know that once the company comes into existence, it is an artificial being, and once the company comes into existence and it finds that any of the promoters has made any secret profit on behalf of the company, then the company has every right to recover the purchase price paid to the promoters. So whatever price it has paid to the promoters, so it has the authority to take back the price paid to the promoters. Then next is, the promoters are not legally entitled to claim the expenses incurred in the promotion of a company. Now these promoters, they will have spent lot of money for the promotion of the company, and legally they are not entitled to get back those expenses. The company may also remunerate the promoters for their efforts by paying a lump sum amount or a commission on the purchase price of property purchased through them or on the shares sold. So the company can remunerate these promoters. Now how it can remunerate these promoters? By paying a lump sum of money. So they may say, you just take this so many crores for promoting this company. So the promoters can be remunerated, or they can also pay a commission on the purchase price of property sold through them. So suppose they have purchased any property through these promoters, then it can also pay commission on the shares sold. So in this way, the company can compensate the promoters. Then the next step in the formation of a company is incorporation. Now what is this incorporation? So after completing the aforesaid formalities, the promoters make an application for the incorporation of the company. So as I had mentioned earlier, there are so many formalities, so many documents to be prepared, and once everything is settled, then we can go in for the incorporation of the company. Now what do you mean by actual incorporation? Incorporation is nothing but getting the company registered. So the application for registration must be accompanied with certain documents about which we have already discussed in the previous sections. So when you want to go get the company registered, the registrar of companies will ask you a list of documents, so which we had mentioned previously. So all those documents should be ready and it should be submitted along with the application for registration. So this is the most important stage. So we will stop this session here. Hope you have just understood what is the memorandum of association and what are the various documents needed for incorporation of a company. Thank you.